Why have a risk management toolset? Because it enables organization-wide integration, and that adds value, including transparency and increased engagement. Despite most organizations undertaking risk management, with many it's occurring in silos or even individual pockets. With a suitable toolset, any organization can derive significantly better outputs, including enhanced governance, more effective management, and easier data management. That saves everyone significant time. Hi, my name is Gavin Halling, founder of Risk Tools, a boutique consultancy whose vision is to ensure risk management adds value to you and your organization. I confess I started my risk management journey using spreadsheets, and 400 plus risks later, it was an increasing challenge to manage. That was way back in 2000, and although the client was pleased with the process, all agreed that spreadsheets were not the answer and asked what would be better. After a rather glib comment, well, it's only a database, how hard can it be? The journey to develop a risk toolset was underway. Although the journey has evolved from a runtime access database to a cloud solution, the core processes and functionality have remained unchanged. Why? Well, they work. Before going further, I should mention that this playbook for succinctness uses the term project to encompass the planning and delivery of any objective from a strategic plan through a business case down to a small sub-project. The first question to address is what is required. The process diagram in ISO 31000 provides a helpful start. Stages 1 and 2 of this playbook address the central blocks from context through to treatments. The outside boxes of recording, reporting, monitoring, review, and communications consultation all require a tool set. Risk management is a one-to-many communication arrangement. There is one manager responsible for managing the risks that could impact their objective or objectives, and many others wanting to filter information across the organization to gain information specific to their role. Line managers such as HR, technical or commercial are regular examples. Those accessing reports want to find the precise data they need at a time, location, and from a device that suits them. This access points to a cloud solution, but that is only the first requirement. A database immediately saves time as the project manager does not have to generate and send through reports. Similarly, those wanting information do not have to wait. They can access data when they need it. This, of course, does mean that data needs to be kept current so it can be relied on. Data integrity is critical, so password protection is essential. This ensures only those authorized can change data with similar controls over those who can access reports. The ability to group project data for program or business unit management helps with systemic risks and identifying those risks that are best managed by a higher level manager. The ability to share information with those outside the organization may also be needed when the project team includes consultants or contractors. So much for the headline requirements. What else can assist with efficiency? Some of what follows includes screenshots from our Toolset Risk Organizer. They are provided to help clarify functionality that aids value. Any software toolset undertakes two functions. It receives inputs and provides output reports to support management. Considering inputs first. Data entry needs to be efficient. One screen for data entry is important, particularly during workshops. Skipping between pages or tabbing across, as occurs with spreadsheets, is both distracting and inefficient. Once the sections on this screen are explained to workshop participants, the screen quickly fades into the background, with participants then focusing on the data. When undertaking a risk identification workshop, the treatment panel is blank, which further reduces distractions. Stage 1 of this playbook explained why separating risk identification from treatment workshops helps with efficiency. Viewers can pause the video and study the screen in more detail. Outputs similarly are based on a single screen depending on your role. Each has some common filters, with others focused on the requirements of a particular management role. There are three types of users. The first is the manager of the objective. The ongoing management tab has a focus on the management of treatments. Line managers will want to see risk across all projects and use the RBS filter to focus on their specific area of interest. Finally, the Analysis tab enables comparative analysis of various outputs between a time in the past and the current status. Some reports also support trends. The Analysis tab enables risk and other senior managers to assess how risks are being managed and see where help may be required. Once filters have been selected, the resultant report can be previewed and then downloaded as a .csv file for export or as a PDF for reporting. Filter selections can also be saved, so next time the same report can be quickly run with updated data. On occasions, those heading up risk management have also been given responsibility for other areas. In parallel, some software developers have endeavoured to integrate some or all of these areas into one package. The problem with this approach is that these areas have different requirements. For instance, the top item, compliance, has only one risk: not complying with relevant legislation. The treatment is essentially to keep up to date with legislation and develop or amend and then follow internal procedures. The data communication flow and personnel required for compliance is quite different to risk management. It is not worth going through each of these areas. Suffice to say, software that attempts to provide for everything is usually expensive and more complex to use. Complexity kills engagement, and that clearly needs to be avoided. Although some have suggested that combining risk with other management areas provides benefits at executive level, it is hard to see benefits to other management levels. The result is often that non-executive levels get left to their own devices, resulting in silo rather than integrated management. The result? Inefficiency and ineffectiveness. Here's a summary of Toolset requirements. The only point we have not covered is that benefits should exceed costs. There is a sheet to assist you in assessing the cost-benefit value on page 8 of this playbook. So that covers the key areas of selecting a toolset and points to the need for risk management specific software rather than spreadsheets or complex software that incorporates other management areas. There are two management areas that are worth integrating into a risk management toolset. These are issues and the cost of carrying risks. Why is it helpful to integrate these? Well, both are the responsibility of the project manager and naturally flow from managing risks. So let's quickly look at them. Essentially, issue management is similar but less onerous than risk management. Treatments, treatment owners, and action dates are still required. Analysis, now that the likelihood is 100%, and the RBS are not required. Issues will arise that were not previously identified as a risk. These can be directly entered into the issues screen. In a contract environment, issues can become claims, which in turn may lead to variations, so reporting against these filters can be helpful. Moving to the second area, costs. Where a project is specifically financed, normally from capital and or loans, then the cost of carrying risks is usually a focus. When a risk that has a direct cost impact is identified, the cost impact icon at the top of the page may be ticked. When all cost impact risks have been identified, the Risk Value tab may be selected. This introduces the two highlighted areas. There are two variables, likelihood and a range of costs that may result if the risk occurs. These values are worked through for the selected risks. Risk Valuer, which is built into Risk Organizer, enables a Monte Carlo simulation to be run. The model reproduces three reports, the first of which is a histogram, and this provides a P50 value, which is the anticipated cost of carrying risks for inclusion in the budget. If viewers are interested in managing the variable costs associated with projects, then they are encouraged to view our Project Cost Uncertainty Playbook. And that completes what you may want to consider when selecting a tool set. This in the previous two stages helped take risk management governance to a new level, and that is the topic of stage 4. I look forward to catching up with you then.